How? There's so many questions to that.
I know. It's crazy, but it's like we thought we drained all the oil from it, but there actually is like more oil now.
Where's this oil coming from?
Maybe we don't really know what we're talking about. You know what I mean? Like maybe we really don't know. Or what if it's a simulation and so it's respawning?
Just slowly over time, it has that slow build one.
Yeah. You know?
Dude, if we were in a simulation...
Well, have you noticed how wasps behave?
I mean, yeah, super crazy.
They build their nests in the same locations.
Yeah.
So if I get a wasp nest on this pole and I knock it down, whenever they built it, they actually left a pheromone. So then the next generation of wasps that hatch will be like, hey, this is a spot for a nest, like a respawn point.
Yeah. But if you keep doing that over and over, they stop coming back eventually.
Okay, good.
Yeah, yeah. You just have to be very consistent with it. I think it's like over the course of like 2 years.
Multiple years. Had to be multiple years.
Where you have to just keep breaking it down until finally they're like, let's just not build here.
Mm-hmm. But I just think it's funny because it's like in a video game when you're like, oh, you need honeycomb, you know, and it's like, so you knock the bee's nest down and you get one honeycomb, and then you got to wait like 10 minutes, and then another bee's nest goes burp, and you knock it down for another honeycomb.
Yeah.
And it's like that, except over like years.
I mean, but it's funny though, because if you really think about it, like, I mean, that comes down to the whole like my friend being like, birds aren't real, man.
Oh, dude.
Like,
okay. So, birds aren't real. I decided to go down that rabbit trail after that.
Oh my God.
Have we actually talked about that on the show? The birds aren't
I think
real?
We talked about it a little bit.
Okay. But, so I went down that rabbit trail. And I was like, this is just a bunch of nonsense and it doesn't make any sense and blah, blah, blah.
You start looking at some stuff and you're like, excuse me, sir. What?
Yeah, but there's a lot of the things that I was seeing was actually because of the frame rate of the camera and versus the speed that a bird flaps its wings. Mm-hmm. It looks like they're stationary because of the discrepancy in the footage. But then there was the one crazy one, right, where the bird's literally in the air and the dude climbs on the truck and hits it until it flies.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, that
threw me off.
Now, get this. Okay, that's not that birds aren't real. It's aliens. Okay, so this thing just came out.
Are you saying birds are aliens?
No.
Okay.
Aliens have the ability to freeze things midair. Okay. Yes.
Explain.
Okay, so it just came out. I could probably pull up a news article about it. It just came out that there was
see some weird article.
This I think it was a colonel in the Air Force, maybe higher ranked. I forget. But he said he was like, oh, I never believed any of the alien talk, blah blah blah, until I saw a jet 40,000 feet in the air stop.
Excuse me?
Yeah, 2 pilots. From my understanding, I'd have to reread the article for all the details. 2 pilots, you know, because you got your wingman. They're flying. They're going Mach 10 or whatever stupid thing that planes can do now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, wingman just boop stops, and the other guy's flying off, and then like circles back, and it's just literally stuck in air, just like engines going, everything is just standing still.
The other guy was like, "What's going on?
Yeah.
What's going on?"
Right. Yeah. And then after a few minutes, it just kept flying like normal. Stopped midair. Just. So, aliens or simulation, and there was like a weird glitch.
I mean, we've seen those glitches in games.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, did you notice that things just, like, they walk into a wall or they just don't do, like, you were there when we were looking at the Spider-Man game, where they just kept beating on the door.
Oh, yeah, but there was something else that was worse than that, wasn't it?
I mean, I don't know. There was just a whole army of them that just spawned out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. Like a car went around a turn or like around a building.
Yeah,
and then just, boom. He was like, oh, okay. He just stopped there. It was like, and then a traffic jam happened, mm-hmm. and then those guys were all just standing there like.
It's like, wait, what is going on? Like, no one's actually doing anything. Yeah. We're all just standing around.
There was a group on the back end of one building trying to break in, mm-hmm. and then there's a group on the other side just being like.
Yeah, that was weird. That was a really weird moment. I'm so glad he did that, because I was like, I remember I was just like, oh, something funny happened. I was like, dude, if you want to break this game, just walk.
Yes.
Just walk, because the game does not expect you to just walk around. You're freaking Spider-Man. And then literally, 30 seconds later, it's like, what did we just run into? It's like, yeah, because you're walking.
Yeah, it's like some of the weirdest stuff. You can't kill the NPCs mm-hmm. like that were there. That was
that's right.
Bad guys.
That's right. He swung trash cans around, which normally hit enemies, and then threw it through a person, and like no one reacted. It just went through, and nobody's like,
freaking out like they would in a fight.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, but they were just like, no.
No, we're just standing here.
So if our world is
You didn't swing.
If our world is a simulation, though, this is the most advanced simulation that has ever existed.
Yeah, we're trying to recreate it. Because the thing is, there was a movie I watched one time where there's a movie I watched, I forget what it was called, but a guy created a simulation that was just as real as real life, and you could plug in and basically have a second life in it.
Yeah.
And you would just inhabit a dude's body. Like, you know, you'd go in there and you just take over a character, and then when you're not there, they go around like an NPC.
Yeah.
You know, like they live their own free will life, and then you take them over and I think in their mind they're asleep. Then it turns out that the person he keeps taking over realizes that it's happening or whatever, and like it freaks out, and he's like, I'm getting out of town. And then it turns out that it's like, you can't leave, because he eventually just hits the, like, there's nothing past this, there's nothing's coded past this, so it's just this weird glitchy, like, non-existent thing. And then it goes back to the real world, and it turns out the dude's like realizing that made the game is like, we're in one too. Like, it's just these layers of like simulations where we emulate, because we were created this thing, and then so our natural instinct is to try and create this thing.
Yeah.
So we make our own digital like fake version of it, and then in that digital fake version, if it gets close enough to the real one, they're like, we're gonna make like, we want video games.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because in video games there are content creators.
Yeah.
like along with the Spider-Man one, they have Jay Jonah actually having a podcast and other random stuff. And
Yeah. That's
I don't know if that's on the low end of it. But
no, I think if you look at Red Dead Redemption 2, it's the closest we've gotten with a video game to like a simulation, because I saw some videos where people were like, they literally just followed a dude around all day to see what it was, and he literally went from his home. He woke up at crack of dawn, did morning chores at the house, then left to go to work. I think he was like he was a lumberjack.
Yeah.
So he literally goes out into the woods, cuts down a tree, takes the log back to the place, splits the wood, stacks it in a thing, loads it in a cart. The cart leaves. Then he goes to the bar.
This is an NPC?
Yeah. Then he go in Red Dead 2. Yeah.
Okay.
Then he goes to the bar. He gets some drinks. He gets on his horse. He rides back to his house. He goes to bed, wakes up, and does it again.
That's a crazy
And it's
code
a full,
that they built.
yeah, and every single NPC in the game has that, where it's like they have a full day-night cycle of this is what they do.
So how would you follow? So do any of them break that day-night cycle?
I don't think so.
Because that's when it really get creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Is the moment one of them is like, I don't want to go to the bar tonight. I'm gonna go home and just chill out, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I just messed up my mic. I dropped the mic.
All right, well, we'll see you next week, guys.
That's it. See you.
Bye.